Hi everybody and welcome again to another episode. Today I'm going to be talking to you about trigger points, and you may be asking what are trigger points, and for some of you you may be already realize what a trigger point is. It's something that can motivate you to get some things done quickly in the least amount of time. Now, some trigger points can be some things that what can cause extreme stress and panic. We are not necessarily looking for anything like that. We are looking for a trigger point that will motivate you to get the most done in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort and resistance. Everybody has some kind of trigger point and something that will motivate them to push on through things and just do it, and do it at a high level. And I suppose one of the most simplest trigger points to understand is you have a deadline to meet by the end of the week, and instead of waiting till Friday midday to start it, you impose a false deadline of Wednesday. You need to get it done by Wednesday or even Thursday, so giving you time to make any necessary adjustments. So you have condensed the time that you need to get something done. And that is a trigger point, something that pushes you and motivates you. But you want something that will get you going, whether you're high or you're low, but that really drives you. And for some people, they may simply need a false deadline. For other people, it could be music, it could be sound, smell, something, being around certain people that really gets them focused and really get things done quickly and efficiently. So, understanding what is your trigger point and how you can use it to your best advantage is going to be important. And some ways to look at it is, what sort of person are you? Are you a person who is very emotional and, somebody says something to you and you can just simply fly into that energy? Or are you a person who's very analytical? Just as a person who's very emotional, can say, oh yeah, I understand that, no problem. But a very person who's very analytical is going to be very calm, most likely, very reserved, very collective, and say, yes, I see what's happening. What triggered a person who is very emotional may not even register on the person who's very analytical. And they may go, yeah, I understand, but they will continue flying through things at the same pace. Not motivated, not responding in the same way as a person who's very emotional, and vice versa. So, understanding what sort of person are you and what sort of triggers get you moving. And so you've got to spend time in doing a little bit of research on yourself and looking back on your past experience and say, this happened and this caused me to suddenly kick into life, and I was away and happy and going. And I suppose another example could be that when you might have fallen in love with somebody and all of a sudden you could do 1 week's work in a couple of days. You were so happy, you relaxed, you focused, and there was it. You were just producing so much amount of work. You were just like surprised and shocked. People around you were amazed at the amount of work that you were doing, because you had found that trigger of love. And for some people, love may be that trigger. You may need to be in a state of extreme bliss and happiness, and that you've got a wonderful relationship, or you're in love with the work that you're doing and you're just flowing. That's great. But for other people, it may be something else. It could be music, it could be food, it could be something, it could be exercise. But you need to find out what is that trigger point. What that trigger point is and how you can use it and how you can refine it and make it really, really clear and simple to use, because you want to be operating at your best. You want to be there and able to get the things done when you need to get it done. So using and understanding the trigger points within your own life. Now, there could be multiple trigger points for different situations, or you may just have one trigger point that you know that if you use it, you're going to get into action and you're going to get the job done. Whatever it takes is going to get done. And so a lot of people, I have found, don't necessarily know what the trigger point is, and they have some ways. For some people, they have stumbled upon it by accident, or they have learned a technique that has worked for them and they're able to use it to their best advantage. So they might be in business and they've gone to a meeting, or they've been coached or mentored by somebody, and they've been given certain tools and techniques to use, and it has worked for them, and they've been able to refine it over the years to even get more out of themselves. These are some of the things that you may need to look at, and if you're not in that position of being able to have a mentor or whatever, you can simply look back on your own experience. And this is, I think, one of the key things is to look back in your own experience and find certain areas, periods of time when you have done things that were exceptional. You were just like amazed. You came up with some brilliant ideas. You did things, you figured things out that when you tried to repeat it again, you couldn't necessarily do it again because you weren't in that space, you weren't in that zone. So you need to find out what led up to it, what caused that situation for you to suddenly figure something out that you wasn't normally able to figure out or do. Understand what's that trigger point. What sparked your genius. There's something that happened that made you suddenly change your mindset, go into another part of you and get that very best out of yourself, get the answers that you required, you did what you need to do, and you worked it out. What was that trigger point? What caused it? What was the environment? What were the people around you? Did something upset you? Now, if it's something that upsets you, you don't want to find somebody to upset you all the time to activate that trigger point. Find the attributes that made up that and then change it, refine it. Make it something that you can use in a more positive way. So learn to find that trigger point. It's going to be, I think, quite important for a lot of people, because it will help a lot of people to move up another level in whatever they wanted to do. Get and understand your own trigger points. And you'll see other people who have been very successful, they have some kind of trigger point that gets them going regardless of how they feel or the situation may be. They're able to pull something out of the bag that makes them that exceptional person. And you yourself have that quality in you. So I just want to encourage you, this is just a mere introduction, just laying the foundation for something that will be built upon later on. So until next time, take care now. Bye bye. Learn and find out your trigger point.